Buongiorno a tutti, qui il vostro Anthony che vi parla e oggi continueremo la live di CSI. Per prima cosa ragazzi chiedo scusa perché nell'ultimo video lo schermo non era perfettamente dritto, però io d'altronde registro con un tablet tante volte, mettere l'immagine dritta faccio un po' fatica. Comunque l'importante è almeno che si senta l'audio e che le immagini siano abbastanza buone. Va bene, noi adesso andiamo avanti, siamo sempre al capitolo 3, ora dobbiamo andare al luogo della barca perché dobbiamo aprire, come si chiama adesso, non mi ricordo più i nomi, aspettate. John ci ha dato la chiave dell'armadietto della barca, diciamo. Lo chiama armadietto, però possiamo anche dire mobiletto, ecco. Allora, però non abbiamo visto una cosa. Ah no, l'avevamo già esaminato perché gliel'avevamo già fatto vedere il pupazzetto, come cacchio si chiama, il pupazzetto da dito. Ok, vabbè, allora andiamo. Ecco qua. Eh sì ragazzi, ci sono un altro paio di scarpe uguali.
Okay, now the trick is to distinguish one pair of muddy shoes from the other.
Obiettivo aggiornato. Allora, prove. Poi non ho visto la chiave. Vabbè, tanto non penso che ci sia da prendere in punti digitali. Va bene, abbiamo trovato le scarpe queste qua. Qui non c'è niente. Vabbè, allora andiamo in laboratorio. Allora, controlliamo. No, non è questo. No, cosa cacchio? No, niente, non possiamo vedere dal macchinario se la vittima e il fratello comunicavano col codice Morse. Vabbè, intanto vediamo. Fa un bagno sbagliato. Cominciamo bene oggi, Allora, no, non è questo. Allora, le scarpe con
the shoe impressions we collected at the crime scene match the treads of the shoes we recovered from the boat. These are the shoes the killer wore.
ok.
The shoe impressions we collected at the crime scene match the treads of the shoes we recovered from the boat. These are the shoes the killer wore.
E poi controlliamo anche l'ultima. Ok, questo non serviva, ok. Allora, questo che cacchio serve? Ok. Adesso andiamo a parlare
What do you need from me?
no, niente. Lui ci ha già detto tutto. Allora, torniamo un attimo. Ci deve essere sfuggito qualche cosa, ragazzi, comunque, perché è strano che... Perché strano, perché manca qualcosa qua per catturare l'assassino. Adesso proviamo a dare una occhiata in giro. Sì, va bene. Allora, qui non c'è niente, però adesso che mi viene in mente, dobbiamo vedere... Dobbiamo andare a chiedere a Brass, forse, il registro... No, ho sbagliato invece, no, bisogna andare al laboratorio e ricontrollare la documentazione. Vediamo un po'. Database medico.
So here's what's funny.
Ecco.
Every time Jane comes to visit, Mary all of a sudden has this wildly unpredictable pattern of morphine dosing. And I just couldn't put my finger on what was gnawing at me. What could Mary possibly be thinking? And then it hit me. If you were to take Mary's erratic pattern and filter it through the computer as a Morse code pattern, did you see Mary's final message right before she died? J-A-Y-N. You know, Morse code has been in use for over 160 years. It only ceased to be an international standard for maritime communication in 1999. And for some reason, I remember when the French Navy ceased using Morse code in 97. The final message transmitted was, calling all. This is our last cry for our eternal silence. Let's go talk to Brass.
Ok, andiamo a parlare con Brass. Ci serve un mandato per Jane Barrett.
What evidence do you have?
Facciamogli vedere.
I mean, this isn't exactly a smoking gun. Jane Barrett may have had opportunity, but as far as we can tell,
I
she
dati.
hasn't got a motive. Now, our little John and Nurse Lou, they have motive. I'll see what I can do, but now that John's more willing to cooperate, why don't we talk to him and see if he lets something slip? Got in the way of evidence. I mean, this isn't exactly a smoking gun. Jane Barrett may have had opportunity, but as far as we can tell, she hasn't got a motive. Now, our little John and Nurse Lou, They have motive.
Allora,
I'll see what I can do. Now that John's more willing to cooperate, why don't we talk to him and see if he lets something slip?
ok. Andiamo a parlare con John, vediamo cosa ci dice. Da quando gli abbiamo dato il pupazzetto lì, John stranamente adesso è molto più collaborativo.
Jane, my sister and I don't exactly get along anymore, but between the two of us, I'm the one capable of murder, not her. Jane didn't like Mary. She didn't trust her. But then after the accident, Jane tried really hard to make things right between them. No, Pauline and I were there all day. We never saw her.
Do you lock the front door?
No, we don't. I mean, I guess it's possible Jane could have come in without us seeing her. Anything's possible, right?
Ok. Allora, però non troviamo, ma dove cacchio è l'infermiera? È sparita? Non c'è più l'infermiera? Vabbè, adesso andiamo, vediamo cosa dice Brass.
Based on what evidence? Show me something I can work with.
Ah,
What
che
evidence?
palla!
I mean, this isn't exactly a smoking gun. Jane Barrett may have had opportunity, but as far as we can tell, she hasn't got a motive. Now, our little John and Nurse Lou, they have motive.
Ci sfugge
I'll see what I
qualcosa.
can do, but now that John's more willing to cooperate, why don't we talk to him and see if he lets something slip?
Però ha detto che la porta d'ingresso non era chiusa a chiave, quindi dovrebbe esserci qualcosa sicuramente nel molo. Ci sfugge qualcosa, ragazzi. Oh no. Io purtroppo questa indagine non me la ricordo. Ci deve essere sicuramente qualcosa qua da. Ma non mi rompere l'anima. Dicevo, ci sfugge qualcosa, dobbiamo controllare le scarpe di nuovo. Vediamo un po'. Va, che figlio di buona donna, va.
Good catch. That's a very fine strand of hair.
Una chioccia di capelli, vediamo che cavolo è. Capello compresa la radice. Forse ce l'abbiamo fatta, vediamo un po'. Ecco cosa mancava, questo era forse l'ultimo tassello del puzzle che ci serviva per completare l'indagine. Ora adesso con il capello andiamo qua, prendiamo il DNA. Cerchiamo. Cominciamo dall'ultimo, va? No, non può essere questo perché è pieno di verdi uno dietro l'altro. Proviamo il primo. Allora, Poi. Ragazzi, bingo! Vediamo a chi appartiene.
Appearances can be so deceiving, can't they? That's Jane Barrett's hair. You know what? That crime scene was staged. We need to talk to Brass.
Ah! Il cappello è di Jane. Chi ci fa il cappello di Jane e le scarpe di John? Bene, bene, bene. Andiamo da Brass e ci facciamo dare un bel mandato.
What do you got in the way of evidence? DNA evidence puts Jane Barrett right at the crime scene. I'll get you warrant.
Ok. Facciamola cantare.
Why am I being brought in like this? I told you before I was at home in Los Angeles.
Ci stai mentendo.
Miss Barrett, we found your DNA at the location which ties you to Mary's murder.
That's not possible. I gave you my home security system records. I wasn't even in Las Vegas. I was home. This has to be some kind of mistake. Didn't you check with the security company?
That's exactly what we did, Miss Barrett. Superior Security Systems doesn't offer any kind of special application for a client's phone. While other companies may offer that convenience, according to Superior, that kind of app just makes it way too easy to hack into.
I have an explanation. That is,
You see your phone, Miss Barrett?
I'm going to get a search warrant for your home in Los Angeles, Miss Barrett. I'm going to have LAPD turn over the place and tell me exactly what they find.
may I save you the trouble, Captain? You won't find anything there. You have no case. Just because I wasn't home doesn't mean I murdered my stepsister. That's actually quite a remarkable leap of imagination. And I would guess those don't usually play very well in front of a jury.
Just heard back from the LAPD. They searched Jane Barrett's Lost Hills residence from top to bottom. Found nothing. Look, maybe Jane didn't want to risk traveling around with incriminating evidence on her, so she stashed it around here somewhere. All I'm saying is, it's worth looking into.
Ok, prima di tutto abbiamo il cellulare di Jane. Cellulare vecchio. Cos'è che c'è qua?
Smudge was on her phone earlier. It's not sticky, it's viscous, like oil.
Aspettate, controlliamo ancora il cellulare. C'è questa macchia d'olio, Allora, a me mi sembra di aver già trovato dell'olio. Era nella rimessa delle barche. Allora, vediamo. No, non si può controllare il cellulare di questa maledetta. No. Questo che cos'era? Non me lo ricordo. Ah, audio e video, niente. Allora, controlliamo. Chimica. Ok. Io ho già trovato anche una macchia d'olio. Va, eccolo qua.
Petroleum oil with a very low ash content. Looks like the type of two-stroke oil you'd use in jet skis. The chemical impurities in both oil samples match, which means we can put Jane at the lake very recently, but why would she go down there? Unless maybe she was trying to hide something from us. I think we're going to need something to search below ground as well as above.
Ok. Mandato disponibile da Brasso. Vediamo, andiamo da Brasso, vediamo se ci dà il mandato di perquisizione. Abbiamo ancora il dispositivo a ultrasuoni usato nel caso di incendio doloso?
Ah, yes. The ultrasound device. It's impressive. But it's also expensive. Let's just be sure we really need it before we start wasting valuable resources.
Allora, ok,
This
questo.
evidence places Jane Barrett in proximity to that pool of motor oil. Okay. I'll get you that ultrasound device. Let's see if we can find out why she was there.
Ok, andiamo alla rimessa delle barche. Eccolo qua. C'è un
So this is
martello.
what Jane was trying to hide. A hammer. She buried the hammer right on top of a wrench, which looks as though it's been down there for a while.
Ok, chiave inglese. Allora, luogo perquisito. Analizziamo le prove. Ma la chiave inglese mi sa che non serve a un cazzo qua. Tutta arrugginita. Però il martello forse ci dirà qualcosa. Eccolo qui, infatti.
It's like some kind of softer metal got embedded in the pitting on the hammerhead.
E qua cosa c'è? Una bella impronta digitale? Certo. Però è strano che nella chiave inglese non c'è niente, però è tutta arrugginita questa qua. Va bene, allora andiamo in laboratorio ed esaminiamo sia l'impronta digitale che quel pezzo giallo che abbiamo trovato. Allora, ricerca. Eccolo qua.
These particles are bronze, and they're a perfect match to the bronze that the bust is made out of. The bronze particles didn't come off by smashing the regulator. Someone deliberately shaved them off and planted them. So our killer wanted us to make the connection to the bust, and wanted to make sure we found those muddy footprints right by it. And he or she assumed that if we did, our focus would turn to John and Pauline.
Poi vediamo un attimo. No, qui non c'è da fare niente. Andiamo a vedere l'impronta. No, sbagliato. Ecco qua. Ecco, il martello l'ha usato Jane.
Jane Barrett's fingerprint is on the hammer used to smash the regulator. I'd really like to hear what Jane Barrett has to say.
Ok. Andiamo a parlare di nuovo con Jane. Chiediamo a Brass. Ma come? Ah sì, bisogna andare nella sala interrogatori.
You didn't find anything, did you? I tried to save you the trouble. So is that it, officers? You'll never really know, will you?
Here's your fingerprint. We found it on the hammer you buried by the lake.
The same hammer you used to knock off a piece of that bust. The one you planted with the broken regulator.
I'm just curious, Jane. Why the bust of Mary's father? Did you resent the Marst family that much?
I hated them. Hated them for stealing my family from me. You know, when my parents died in that oh-so-tragic skiing accident, it made me start believing that there was the possibility of justice in this world. Like God had answered my prayers and punished them for abandoning me. But then Mary took over the company. She was just a stupid little party girl, and there was nothing I could do about it. But as soon as Mary resigned, that very night, I was ready. God really does help those who help themselves. Mary survived her accident, which upset me. Why was God punishing me? But I planned to try again, and that's when I bought that application for my phone so I would be able to create an alibi. But you know, I realized I could just watch Mary die, bit by bit. It was then that I completely understood God's plan for me. I wasn't being punished. I was being rewarded. And then one day, I found John standing over Mary, crying and begging her not to die because she was the only family he had left. But I'm his real sister. That very day, I snuck into John's room to find something that would lead you to him and his naughty nurse. I took a chip of her fingernail from the trash in his room. Then yesterday, I used my phone to make it look like I was home. Then I drove to Vegas. It only takes about 4 hours. In the right car, that is. I went down to the family boat, put on my gloves, got John's muddy shoes, and drove to the chalet. I waited for my brother and his whore to go to his room, and then I snuck in. I put on the shoes and took the bronze bust from the front room. As soon as she saw me, Mary started panicking, pushing her regulator button over and over and over. Do you need some help with that, Mary? I cracked open Mary's regulator with the bust, then used the hammer to chip off a bit of it. That part was for you guys to find. Then, and this was the best part, I put the broken regulator in Mary's hand and I forced her to push the button. I looked into her terrified eyes to watch the morphine melt her soul away. And then, she almost wrecked it. She looked at me and she smiled at me. She was trying to trick me, make me think she was glad to die. Like this was what she'd wanted all along, as if God was freeing her, not me. After she was dead, I planted that tiny bit of the fake fingernail on her hand. I replaced the bust, returned the shoes to the boat, and buried the hammer. Then I drove home. I got back just in time to catch my flight.
You might be right, Jane. Mary may have been happy to finally be released of her burden. Or maybe she was smiling because she'd been able to spell out most of your name on her regulator right before she passed. I think she was smiling because she knew you weren't going to get away with murder.
Well, we'll never know for sure now, will we?
I do know one thing for sure, Miss Barrett. You may have been neglected by your family, but we're going to be paying a lot of attention to you now. Probably for the next 25 years to life.
Ok, abbiamo risolto il caso, ragazzi. L'assassina era Jane.
Very good work, you two. A confession is always a nice bonus in a case like this one.
Technically, 2 confessions. One for last night's murder, and another for last year's attempted murder.
You keeping score, Nicky?
I just think my partner here deserves full credit for chalking up 2 scores. I think it should go a long way towards breaking up that cloud hanging over the team because of Huntley.
You let me worry about Huntley.
I'm telling you, Captain, he's dirty.
Good night, Nicky.
Ok, abbiamo risolto anche questo caso. Bene, ragazzi, adesso inizieremo il quarto. Allora, scegli il caso, andiamo con il quarto. Morte all'autolavaggio. Ma che succede? Ah, sta caricando. Che è successo?
Dick's name is Jessica Marnier, the 10th secretary. Car wash's owner knows her, says she comes in every week.
But just to wash her car, right?
Right. Miss Marnier didn't strike me as the kind of girl who did drugs.
Appearances can be deceiving.
Something tells me that the outside of the car is the only place that's clean.
Oh, bene, adesso avremo la biondina.
Before we get down to it, what's the status on your partner here? I heard Huntley talk to the sheriff.
He did. And the sheriff talked to me about conducting a formal review of our DNA testing protocols, which I did. Nothing is compromised.
I'm sure that won't satisfy the feds.
They can satisfy themselves. We've got more pressing matters to deal with. Right now, let's leave the vehicle where it is. So that means we'll only have full access to the front seats. When we have the coroner pick up the body for autopsy and impound transport the car back to the garage at the lab, we'll be able to finish processing the rest of the car wash.
That's the victim's roommate over there, named Veronica Carver. The owner of the car wash called her. All right. Well, I'll run our victim through the database, see if anything pops up. Let's get this done by the book, you two.
Ok, adesso abbiamo questa bellissima raga biondina, si chiama Catherine, vabbè quello che è. Allora, per prima cosa chiediamo informazioni
Hello, Miss Carver.
a
We're from the
questa
Las Vegas
coinquilina.
Crime Lab. We just need to ask you a few questions.
Okay, sure. I mean, of course. I'm just a little, shaken. I see death all the time, but never like this. Never someone I was close to.
Che cosa fa?
You see death all the time?
Oh, that sounds awful, doesn't it? I mean, I'm a registered nurse. I'm sorry if I sound a bit out of it. It's just that when the guy here at the car wash called me about Jesse, I'd just gotten off working a double. He called me around 9 p.m., by the way, if that's important for you.
Ok.
Drugs? I really don't know. Maybe some pot occasionally.
Pot. Never anything else. You know, Veronica, it'll really help if you tell us the whole truth.
Okay, I've seen Jesse use cocaine a few times, but just recreationally. This is Vegas, right? Sometimes you do stuff you don't exactly write home about.
Ok.
Yeah, I knew about her road trips. Jesse told me she liked to come here because she just loved the sound the brushes make as they clean the car. I guess they sound pretty damn good when they're stoned. I wouldn't know. Jessie seemed like she could handle it, you know? But all those drugs. Oh, who was I kidding? I should have done more to try to stop her. I should have tried to help her. But I only tried to mind my own business and pray she got better. Jessie's my roommate. What was my roommate? We live like 10 blocks from here.
Vive qualcun altro con voi?
Just Will. I mean, his name is Guillermo Rice, but everyone calls him Will. He's an old school friend of mine, and he's Jesse's boyfriend. Oh, God, how am I going to tell him about this?
Ok.
Thank you, Miss Carver. You've been very helpful. Go get some sleep. We'll be in contact if we have any more questions.
Va bene, allora. Controlliamo.
The surveillance camera is aimed at the car wash's entrance. If it's working, it must have caught our victim driving in. I'll check with the owner.
Ok. Possiamo prendere i filmati della videosorveglianza volendo. Bene ragazzi, ora dobbiamo andare verso la macchina. Allora. Ah, da questa parte non...
Looks like she's missing an earring.
Allora, sembra che gli manchi un orecchino. Ok. Da fuori la macchina è pulita, quindi dobbiamo per forza aprirla da di qua. Dobbiamo guardarla dentro. Allora, vediamo un po'. Prima di tutto qui c'è un bel po' di roba.
This GPS unit is broken. I'll take it back to Archie and see if we can
GPS
recover any
rotto.
data from it.
Una bella siringa qua.
With our victim OD, and that may be our murder weapon. Our victim might have gone into convulsions and knocked the GPS out of its holder.
Eh sì, vediamo anche questo.
That won't help you.
No. Ecco qua. L'ho sbagliato io.
Got a usable print. Probably our victim's. We better run it anyway.
Poi.
It's a needle mark. Probably from the syringe we found.
Vediamo un po'. Mi pare che non ci sia nient'altro da prendere. Intanto facciamo così, va? Vediamo se ci sono impronte qui. No. Però qua sì, sicuramente.
Well, it's definitely been used.
Vediamo luoghi. Qui c'è del sangue, il collo.
We'll be able to process the brushes once we get the car moved to the garage. But let's make sure we've completely processed the initial scene first.
Va bene, ma io stavo solo dando un'occhiata, non è che stavo cercando chissà che. No, qui non c'è nient'altro. Chiediamo
We've got
ancora.
a few more questions for you.
Ok,
Okay, go ahead.
ma vaffa in bagno. No, ho sbagliato. No, non c'è più niente da prendere qua. Qui c'è la ferita causata dal lago. Dalla siringa, diciamo. No, non c'è nient'altro. No, niente, mi porta sempre qua. Ok, allora possiamo andare in laboratorio. Intanto qui non c'è nient'altro da prendere. Portaoggetti. No. Ok, torniamo in laboratorio, allora andiamo a esaminare.
I'll call down to the coroner's office to arrange for the body to be picked up.
Eh sì, perché se non portano via la macchina e il corpo non posso fare un cacchio qua. Anzi, adesso facciamo così, visto che hanno portato via tutto, dai, possiamo ritornare a vedere se hanno portato via la macchina, così controlleremo il resto. Ah no, il corpo però l'hanno portato via, perfetto.
We'll get a closer look at that once we get the car moved to the
Ok,
garage.
va bene, ho capito. Allora, no, non possiamo più controllare dentro l'auto. Quindi il corpo l'hanno portato. Andiamo in. Vediamo se il dottore ci dice qualcosa.
I'm afraid the autopsy isn't quite done yet. I'll call you right away when it is.
Va bene, ok, l'autopsia. Non è terminata. Andiamo a controllare allora le prove in laboratorio. Allora, analisi computer. Ma come? Vabbè, allora, controlliamo le impronte, va? Ok, le impronte sul GPS. Eccolo qua, Manuel Molinez. Vediamo, fedina minore, possesso di sostanze. Questo spacciava cocaina, quanto va.
So the fingerprint on the GPS holder isn't Jessica Martinier's. It belongs to Manuel Molina's. And according to Mr. Molina's arrest record, he's no stranger to possession and distribution of narcotics. Right now, he's on parole, so we have an address for him. I'll have Brass pay him a visit.
I've completed the autopsy on Jessica Marnier. Come on down when you get the chance.
Ok, adesso controlliamo l'altra impronta sulla siringa. Ah, non... Purtroppo non ci sono... L'impronta è sconosciuta, nel senso che non si trova nel database. Allora, vediamole per un attimo cos'è che abbiamo preso anche... Allora... Dove cacchio si controllava il GPS? Forse qua, ragazzi. Non me lo ricordo, No. No, niente, allora. Il GPS non lo possiamo analizzare, mi sa. Chimica, DNA, niente. Allora andiamo all'obitorio. L'autopsia si è conclusa.
Hi, Doc. What you got?
The victim's COD probably won't surprise you. Acute myocardial infarction caused by intravenous ingestion of benzoyl-methyleconine and morphine. Based on liver temp, I'd say her time of death is somewhere between 8 and 10 this evening. Tox indicates high levels of benzoyl-methyleconine, but you know it better as cocaine. There are also toxic levels of morphine. This particular drug combo you might also know better as a speedball. Inflammation of the tissue inside the nasal cavities is definitely consistent with recent habitual use, and dare I say, abuse of cocaine.
So Jessica Marnier may have been looking to kick her high up a notch.
Yeah, because it's all fun and games until your heart stops. Yes, it is. You know, this may be nothing, but your victim's medical records indicate that she was right-hand dominant. So you'd expect to find any injection points along her left arm, not her right. But maybe she was just desperate for a good vein.
Ok. Lei era a destra. Allora, la vittima usava la mano destra, però in teoria se sei destro dovresti inserirti l'ago sul braccio sinistro, invece ha fatto il contrario.
Recover some skin cells from under nails. Here they are.
I lividi?
The pattern of the bruising is very suggestive of a 4+1 on both arms.
Fingers on one side, thumb on the other.
Someone held your victim hard enough to leave an impression. I'd say very close to the time of her death. Obviously, I can't say anything with absolute certainty. What I can say is the bruising and the injection site are not inconsistent with a passenger inside the vehicle around the time of your victim's overdose.
That passenger may be Manuel Molina's. We need to talk to him as soon as possible.
You're also going to need Jessica Marnier's DNA and prints.
Hey, I just thought you should know something strange has come up with Agent Huntley. No one can find him. It's been 48 hours, so the feds are asking me to put out a bolo for him. I don't know what's going on, but it's not good. I'll let you know if I hear anything else. Also, we didn't have any luck finding Manuel Molina at his home address. Got a bolo out on him, too.
Impounds delivered Jessica Marnier's car to the garage. I want you to process it very carefully. I also want us to go back to the car wash and make sure we didn't miss anything.
Ok, ma aspetta, devo chiedere delle cose a Doc e ce ne andiamo via. E poi l'agente dell'FBI è sparito da 48 ore.
Let's take a better look at those brushes.
Io le spazzole le volevo già controllare prima, non me le fate controllare. Cos'è che c'è qua?
Red fiber. The employees here wear red jumpsuits. I'll see if I can get a sample for comparison.
Mi pare che non ci sia nient'altro qua. Vediamo. Ah no, ancora ci dovrebbe essere qualcosa invece. Oh, questo cos'è?
That's the cup Veronica Carver was drinking out of. And it was lying there in plain sight. So, we don't need a warrant to collect a sample of her DNA.
Bene, abbiamo anche il DNA di Veronica, da coinquilina, ce l'ha lasciato gentilmente qua. Allora, luoghi, stavo finendo di parlare con Doc. No, non è qui, dovevo chiedergli. Ok, no, non c'è più niente da dire. Allora, facciamo così. Andiamo prima al laboratorio ed esaminiamo le prove che abbiamo trovato. Abbiamo anche il DNA e le impronte della vittima, quindi forse...
I've got that sample from the red jumpsuit the employees wear at the car wash.
Va bene. Abbiamo anche un campione delle tute rosse dei dipendenti dell'autolavaggio. Allora, prima di tutto controlliamo ok, sì ragazzi, le impronte sulla siringa sono della vittima.
Jessica Marnier's fingerprints may be on the syringe, but it doesn't completely explain why she may have injected herself in the right arm when she was right-handed.
Ok, tanto però abbiamo analizzato sta cosa importante, quindi vuol dire che forse qualcuno gli ha iniettato della droga. Allora, adesso controlliamo. Ok.
Fibers don't match.
No.
You know, the owner told me he just replaced all the brushes in the car wash. So anything on them that isn't from an employee is probably something that was deposited there very recently.
Ok, vedete, sono diversi, quindi qualcun altro deve aver lasciato quel frammento lì. Allora, abbiamo analizzato quello che ci serviva, vedete, questo è il DNA della vittima. Ah, è vero ragazzi, c'è il DNA sotto le unghie. Andiamo a vedere. nessuna corrispondenza. Magari sono di Veronica. Allora, c'è, sotto le unghie della vittima c'è il DNA di Veronica. Strano, eh?
So how did Veronica Carver's DNA end up under Jessica's fingernails? It's probated, but not enough to get a search warrant.
Sì, in effetti sono anche coinquiline, quindi possono anche essersi abbracciate o che cacchio è. Non basta purtroppo, però almeno sappiamo di chi è il DNA. Infatti, allora andiamo adesso al garage del laboratorio per controllare meglio la macchina.
The owner of the car wash has kindly provided us with their surveillance footage. There was only one camera, but it might have picked up something useful.
Ok, abbiamo anche i dati, abbiamo anche il video della sorveglianza. Allora qua, finalmente adesso, cos'è sta roba qui? Cocaina?
Looks like there's some residue on it. Better get it analyzed.
Vediamo un po'. C'è qualche impronta? Certo. Poi
That little tear could have been caused by any number of things. See if you can narrow it down a little.
andiamo qui. Facciamo un calco?
That isn't what you want.
No.
That won't help you.
Che cazzo devo usare? Proviamo questo, le proviamo tutte, va? Via.
That might give us a clue as to what exactly made that tear.
Vediamo. Ok, non c'è altro da... No. No, non c'è nient'altro. Va bene, allora andiamo in laboratorio. E analizziamo. Allora, prima di tutto chimica. Cos'è sta roba qua? Residuo rivelato nella lacerazione del poggiatesta. Ma vaffanbagno, ho sbagliato tasto. Ok, che cos'è?
Benzoyl methyleconate and morphine, the speedball cocktail. But what's it doing in the tear on the headrest? Let's pay Doc Robbins a call down in the morgue.
Poi, altre prove. Togliamo la siringa.
It looks as though Jessie Marnier used this syringe to inject herself with a lethal cocktail of cocaine and morphine.
Ok. No. Vediamo il sacchettino di droga, che cos'è che ci dice, che roba è. Ok.
Benzoyl methyleconate. Cocaine.
Allora, abbiamo analizzato tutte le prove qua di chimica e adesso andiamo a vedere alcune cose qua. Ecco qui. Vediamo se sono... No. Eccolo qua. Ah! L'impronta del sacchettino di cocaina appartiene a questo Guglielmo Risassi, cos'è l'altro ragazzo di cui ci aveva parlato Veronica?
Guillermo Rice. Veronica said they just called him.
Ah, il ragazzo, ecco, il ragazzo di Jessica, della vittima.
Looks like he's also familiar with narcotics. Mostly misdemeanor possession charges, no convictions. Tags full of pure cocaine, and Jessica's boyfriend's prints on it.
Allora, abbiamo controllato tutto quello che Ah, è vero, nastro della videosorveglianza dobbiamo controllare. Ecco qua, mo useremo questo. Ma non mi rompere l'anima, sto controllando controllando tutto.
According to the timestamp on the surveillance footage, Jessica Marnier drives into the car wash at 9 p.m. Now, Robbins puts her time of death at somewhere between 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. So we're closer to pinpointing her exact TOD. Wait, what's that? Jessica appears to be wearing both earrings when she pulls into the car wash. And look, the GPS is in its holder. So it definitely got knocked out while Jessica was inside the car wash. According to the timestamp on the surveillance footage, Jessica Marnier drives into the car wash at 9 p.m. Now, Robbins puts her time of death at somewhere
Oh,
between
che palla,
8
sì,
p.m.
abbiamo
and
capito,
10
va
p.m.
bene.
So we're closer to pinpointing her exact TOD. Wait, what's that? Jessica appears to be wearing both earrings when she pulls into the car wash. And look, the GPS is in its holder. So it definitely got knocked out while Jessica was inside the car wash.
Allora, non ho fatto una cosa, proviamo a farla qua adesso. No, niente, non si può, il GPS non riusciamo a controllarlo. Non so perché. No. Allora, andiamo un attimo dal dottor Doc. Vediamo.
Hi, Doc. Got some more questions for you about the overdose case.
You've learned something new?
Una piccola lacerazione dalla parte posteriore. Ok.
There was residue of benzoyl-methyleconine and morphine in and around a tear in the driver's headrest of our victim's car.
Interesting. It certainly suggests that the needle used to inject Ms. Marnier came from behind her. Well, if there had been a struggle, then I'd say it's very possible the syringe needle may have gotten caught in the fabric of the headrest. I'm just about to review my autopsy notes and re-examine the body. I'll let you know if I find anything else.
Let's hear what Will Rice has to say. We need a warrant, and Jim's our go-to guy.
Va bene ragazzi, allora noi adesso, prima di andare da Brass per il mandato, per farci dare il mandato per interrogare Gin, devo però salvare la partita e interrompere con la live. Quindi noi adesso per il salvataggio automatico andiamo nel laboratorio. Ok, salvataggio. Bene amici, io interrompo con la live. Grazie per avermi seguito. Mi raccomando, commentate, mettete un mi piace, iscrivetevi al canale e ci vedremo alla prossima volta. Dal vostro amico Anthony un saluto a tutti e alla prossima. Ciao ragazzi!